Hey, comics fam, navigating pre-orders these days has gotten way more complicated than it used to be. I just powered through the new Diamond digital catalog, and what used to feel like Christmas morning now feels more like Halloween horror. Blink and it's over. I was done in 5 minutes. But don't worry, Comic Book Yeti is your trusted comic sommelier, and I dug deep into publisher offerings to curate a selection of deep-cut graphic novels you might have otherwise missed. Perfect for your spooky season reading list. From eerie supernatural tales to heartwarming dragon adventures, I got you covered with some of the coolest graphic novels hitting shelves this season. So let's jump into it together. Let's kick things off with a feel-good supernatural cooking comic. Yes, that oddly specific genre actually exists, and it's thriving. I've been devouring a ton of them lately, partly because I'm writing one myself, and let me tell you, the variety of food-driven fantasy hitting shelves right now is wild. Enter Purgatory Funeral Cakes, a manhwa with a title so memorable it immediately demands your attention. Recently picked up by Dark Horse Comics and translated into English for the first time, it is the new brainchild of revered South Korean artist Sunho, where we're introduced to Margot, a warm-hearted baker, and her ghostly assistant, Miro, who together they craft custom cakes for the recently departed, each one uniquely designed by channeling the memories from their loved ones that have been left behind, where the flavors and the decorations are infused with meaning, making every dessert a heartwarming tribute. This first volume includes 2 short stories, one about a mystery novelist who volunteers at a hospital, and another featuring the daughter of a vampire who's reminiscing about her nightbound mother. The cuteness factor in this book is off the charts. It's the kind of read you want to curl up with, tea in hand, pastry nearby, blanket optional, but recommended. The artwork leans into that pleasantly spooky vibe with soft, simplified character designs and a selective blush tone color palette, making it expressive while avoiding harsh contrasts. There will be no blinding red traffic light coloring here. Sanho clearly has a thing for this signature hue, because if you take a peek at his other work, you'll see it's a consistent aesthetic choice that he continues to make. In short, Purgatory Funeral Cakes is a tender, beautifully strange little story about love, loss, and pastries, and is absolutely worth sinking your teeth into this fall. If you're not familiar with EPHK's work, imagine if Richard Corbin and Junie Ba had a baby who grew up obsessed with pinup girls and gritty sci-fi. Not usually my scene, but this artist's style is so distinct, so full of chaotic energy and signature flair that you can't help but take notice of it. Think less superhero capes, more heavy metal magazine, and in fact, EPHK's even done work for Penthouse Comics recently, so that should give you a pretty clear idea of the vibe. And it reminds me more of like graffiti on a wall in New York than a comic book. The story drops us straight into the neon-lit streets of 2064 Cape Town, South Africa, where the shiny veneer of the urban city life is rocked by a brutal murder. Enter Detective Gunny Yan Feng, who sets off on a cross-continental chase from the Cape of Good Hope to the underbelly of Hong Kong in a high-stakes manhunt that feels like Blade Runner envisioned by Banksy. It's stylish with a touch of sultry, perfect if you're in the mood for something with the spice level cranked up just a wee bit. This next pick veers a little bit away from the standard comics formatting and more into picture book territory. But honestly, I don't mind, and you shouldn't either, because Night Creatures Firefly is a new release from Cambridge literature professor Robert McFarlane and Sunday Times bestselling artist Luke Hawker. And it's absolutely stunning. The artwork has echoes of Charles Vess with that textured, heavily hashed sketch style that feels both raw and magical. It's the first in the upcoming Night Creatures trilogy, and if this debut is anything to go by, we're in for something really special with this series. Written in lyrical verse, the story follows a wandering child who stumbles across a meadow of fireflies. It's a gentle meditation on finding light in the darkness, a simple but powerful metaphor that lands beautifully amidst this hybrid of prose and visuals. It reminds me of those kinds of children's books I grew up with, the ones that definitely left a mark. And honestly, in 2025, I think we could all use a little bit more quiet hope. This one's definitely getting added to my personal shelf in October, so make sure to check it out. I've been a huge fan of Emmy-nominated Spanish comics artist Laura Perez ever since I first came across her graphic novel Totem a few years ago. She has this incredible gift for crafting liminal spaces, haunting, surreal, and yet deeply intimate. Her sense of page design is masterful, balancing expansiveness with quiet details in a way that pulls you in and holds you there. Coming from a photography background myself, I'm especially drawn to the cinematic quality of her work. Her panels don't always follow traditional comic layouts. They often feel like a curated series of still images, each one composed with intention that weaves a narrative together in her own unique visual language. Her latest graphic novel, Nocturnos, is being released by Fantagraphics and feels like a natural continuation of her style. It's a collection of Twilight vignette stories set in the in-between hours where the boundary between the living and the dead begins to blur a little bit, and the line between imagination and reality grows thin. It's the kind of book that feels made for the quiet, reflective side of spooky season, delicately eerie, dreamlike, and emotionally resonant in all the right ways. If you're building your autumn reading list, this one's an absolute must. Billed as Anne of Green Gables meets How to Train Your Dragon, Sarah Masinga's debut middle-grade graphic novel, Kindred Dragons, is a delightful read for kids or anyone who happens to be young at heart. The story centers on Alice, a dreamy girl sent to live with her strict grandmother on Prince Edward Island. Obsessed with dragons but never chosen as a kindred to receive a dragon egg, Alice's world changes when she secretly befriends Brim, an old dragon who doesn't have a kindred of his own. When Brim suddenly falls ill, Alice embarks on a desperate quest to save him, meeting a host of other dragons along the way. Masinga's artwork in the book is standout. Soft, pastoral earth tones give the story a grounded, cozy feel, while the dragons burst forth with pastel colors that remind me of coloring Easter eggs with my great aunt when I was a child. The panels flow gently without harsh borders, creating a smooth, sinuous rhythm that's refreshing change from the sharp edges that are common in many modern comics. At its core, Kindred Dragon explores themes of family, friendship, and self-acceptance, and as someone with aging parents facing health challenges, the relationship between Alice and Brim resonated deeply with me, capturing the tender mix of love and vulnerability that comes with caring for those we cherish and the challenge of children processing illness within their families. Rounding out my October deep cuts list is Kraken, a new graphic novel from co-creators and Monster Forge pals Shannon Eric Denton and David Hartman, out soon from Titan Comics. Set in an alternate 1930s drenched in dark magic, occult secrets, and ancient horrors, this is your classic Lovecraftian spooky season fix with a twist. The story kicks off with famed adventurer Kraken, who's returning to reality after a mysterious 3-year disappearance. His mission? Stop a power-hungry sorceress from unleashing a horde of eldritch monsters. But here's the genre flip that I love. In this world, the hero is the one with the tentacles. It gives off major Hellboy vibes, and that's no accident. The alternate hardcover edition is illustrated by the legend Mike Mignola himself, which only adds to the story's credibility. We've got sea witches, secret societies, pirates, and yes, good old-fashioned Nazi punching. It's pulp horror at its finest and exactly the kind of genre sandbox I love to mentally play in. If your comics craving leans towards the weird, the wild, and the tentacled, Kraken belongs on your fall reading list. There's even a trailer from Titan that I'll drop in the show notes if you want a little extra hype. I really appreciate y'all hanging out with me today and diving into these spooky season hidden gems. If any of these graphic novels caught your eye, drop me a comment and let me know which one you're most excited to read. Don't make Hulk mad. Like and subscribe to never miss my deep dives into the best comics and graphic novels. And if you want more recommendations or have suggestions for what I should read next or what I should cover, I'm all ears. Please be on the lookout for another curated selection of a few new floppies for October release that will be out soon. So until next time, happy reading, stay spooky, peace.